Hello everybody, big news, Are We Monsters, repping the merch by the way, had its world premiere at FrightFest. It was incredible, the response was fantastic. I'll be doing a video in depth on my experiences there. I made sure to document as much as I could along the way, and I'll tell all you filmmakers what it was like and what to expect from this kind of festival. But in the meantime, I've been given a Q&A. This Q&A is from James at the Horror Channel, so let's give these questions a look.
Filming, creating, learning together. Welcome to our journey.
Did you know from a young age that you wanted to be in the film industry? Yes, in a sense, I knew I wanted to make films, so when I was 7 years old, I started making films in my neighbour's back garden with my dad's old tape camera, and then when I was 11 years old, I actually started learning visual effects in Adobe After Effects, and so from there on, I just kept making until you can see here all these projects I've worked on previously to making my first feature. Where did the idea of Are We Monsters come from? In all my films, I look to include a very powerful moral message that gets us to explore our emotions and make us better communicators as people after understanding these things. And Are We Monsters is no different. We wanted to do a feature film, so we wanted to tackle a question this time about identity and how we find who we are as we grow up, and we couldn't find anything better to represent that than the idea of werewolves, where someone is forced into becoming something different and they've got to explore and find their identity in the process. You co-wrote with John Black, who also plays Everett in the movie. What was your writing process? I always use this analogy whenever I get asked this kind of question. John and I have this nice process where I often build plot, then he comes in and then adds a nice little sprinkle to all the characters, makes them feel a lot more alive, and then I come in and then sort of refine that. So my usual way of describing it is I build a really nice sponge with nice filling on the inside. John comes along, he adds all these decorations on top, he gives it loads of flair, then I come in and I refine that and I pick things away. I don't add anymore, I just take things away and I cut down until we're left with a beautiful core cake with lovely set of decorations that have all been color coded to a particular color palette, for example. So that's our process, and it seems to work very well. How long did it take for you to get the creature design right for you? For those of you who haven't seen the film yet, our creature designs are very different from the typical because we actually go and explore our own lore. The first step for me when I was designing this was to actually design all the lore first and get my head around all that. So the werewolves in this film are very much based off of the evil of man, and so what I did was I designed werewolves for each of the 7 deadly sins, and I then 3D printed them so I could have a look and see all the different designs that we wanted. We were then able to put our minds on one idea of what we wanted this particular werewolf to be, and as we find out, there are other creatures in the film as well, other versions, and they become apparent when you understand the lore and where they come from. I'm not going to get into those because they are big spoilers. The animations give the film a cool original touch. How long did they take to complete? It took quite a while. Luckily, in a sense, we were in lockdown at that time, so I had no other distractions to get them done. It was just get them done and that's it. But it did take me 3 to 4 months to get what was 15 minutes equivalent of animations done. The style itself is a very time-consuming one because you can't just click fill to fill in the colour of an object. You have to scribble every single frame so that the scribbles feel different from frame to frame. So usually, for example, in anime, if you have a character which isn't moving, they will often hold that position for about 3 to up to a whole second's worth of frames. But with ours, if we had a still character, we would have to scribble that same picture out for as many frames as we wanted so that the scribbles kept feeling like they were moving. So yeah, incredibly time-consuming process. Did you have any problems while shooting on location? We got very lucky and we were gifted a closed set. We had all these forests and locations that we could store equipment. We got very lucky with that, and the weather was amazing. We got very lucky with that. We shot it back in the summer of 2019, so that was before COVID, and that summer was incredibly dry. We had 2 months of no rain, so pretty flawless shoot for the most part. The only other thing is that when we were lighting up the forest with the lighting, the light that we were using got quite hot and that attracted lots of wasps. But luckily no one got stung. But yeah. Something to bear in mind if you're filming at night in a forest. There's still wasps at night. How nervous were you the first day on set, as this is your first feature as director? To be honest, not nervous at all. As you can see behind me, I've actually worked and directed over 200 film projects before this, mostly for time reasons, because before this I've been studying to teach physics, and so I had very little time to work on a single larger piece, so everything has been short films up to this point. So yeah, we'd already built up a familiar crew that we were happy to work with, and so it was just like getting back down and doing a feature. It just felt like filming a short film times 5, the filmmaking process at least anyway. What advice would you give to first-time directors? My biggest one, which I'm also communicating with a lot of people who I'm co-writing with in the future now, is get your idea solid. Make sure that you get your plot right and you know who the films are for and what is it that people are going to get out of your film. Before you do anything, you need to get that in your head absolutely sorted. Apart from that, just go ahead and make it. Just make it. Go out there, give it a go, and see what you can get done. Just make sure that you've got an idea of why you're making it and who's going to enjoy it and why they're going to enjoy it. Do you believe in the paranormal? I actually am not a believer of the paranormal, but that's mostly because of my education in physics. It all comes down to all these kind of things from my experience. Not a believer, but I do believe in physics and I do love physics. What are you up to at the moment? We're actually filming our second feature, an action comedy, which is half live action, half animated, very heavily anime inspired, which we are very excited to announce. It's been quite busy trying to film that either side of FrightFest, but yeah, it's been great fun and very much enjoying the process. Thanks very much. And thank you, it's been an absolute delight. The whole FrightFest community have been wonderful. If you're a filmmaker and you're considering submitting to FrightFest, I would highly recommend it. It's been great. If you want to follow the socials, you can go to @SebCoxFilms on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Thanks again everybody, and I'll see you next time.